All right, we are live. Hello, everybody. It is 10:31 Eastern Time. My name is Chris, and this is my channel, We Love Comics, and I have my 4 books that I am going to send out to PGX to get graded, and I'm going to share with you what those are, what prices I paid, and also my predictions of the grades. But I'm going to do something different also today, especially this is going to benefit new people, because I get people asking me all the time how to send out books for shipping. Now, of course, you don't have to use PGX, but if you do, if you look in the description of this and any of my videos, there is a link where if you send 10 or more to PGX to get graded, you will get one of them free if you use the code We Love Comics Free Press. And also, thanks to my influence talking to Daniel Patterson, and shout out to Daniel for this, you can optionally put on grader's notes on the back of your slabs. It's a $5 charge, but if you use the code We Love Comics Grader's Notes, you'll be able to do that and put them directly on the slabs, which basically makes the companies more accountable, and I wish more companies would use that option. So what I'm also going to do is I'm going to show you guys how I package the books and my little tips, and hopefully that'll help you add something to what you currently do. So with that being said, I see enough people are coming in. 7 people already liked it, so thank you. I always appreciate those that take the effort to show their kindness and hit the like button, so thank you for that. Make sure, if you have not done it, sign up for the cashback program. I mention it every time because there's always new people to my channel. The link is in the description. It's in the live chat. It's also pinned to the comment section of this video. If you click on that link and sign up, it's free to do, by the way. If you spend $30 or more with any of their associated and affiliated websites, make sure you check restrictions. If you spend $30 or more within the first 90 days, you get a $30 bonus cash back. It regularly is $10. So take advantage of that and sign up. And full disclosure, if you do that, I get a one-time referral fee. So it helps me during these interesting times. And I'll use that as the word of the day. And don't forget to join the live chat, even if you are not a subscriber. I always do at the end of this video, I do a surprise subscriber shout out. If you are the surprise subscriber shout out and have a YouTube video, one of the bonuses of the surprise subscriber shout out, because I wanted it to actually mean something. I mean, people appreciate it, but, you know, I want to make sure there's something that you can get out of it. If you have a YouTube channel and you are today's surprise subscriber shout out, you can post the link to your channel in the comment section. Of course, I will approve it, so it will not show up at first. And you can't put any links in the live chat, because that prevents, you know, porn sites from just putting links. So if you try the link in the live chat, it will not work. But I will approve it, and I always ask my subscribers, if you see the surprise subscriber shoutouts link in the comment section, go check them out, go support their channel. That's a good way to help spread the love throughout the community and help one another. So with that out of the way, let me put on the video camera, and I see enough people are already here. So there we go. Alright, so I'm going to give some tips first on how I mail them. Now, obviously people do them differently, but I'm going to share my tips. This could be used with any grading company, so, you know, this is not specifically exclusive to PGX. You can use it for all the other grading companies. It's pretty much the same. Now, obviously, all of them have forms that you could either print out or fill out. So you go to whatever grading company that you want to have your books graded and either do the online form, and it's pretty self-explanatory. If you are new to slabs, I have a tip and review of the 3 major grading companies, CGC, PGX, and CBCS. It's non-biased. I give an accurate and fair depiction of the strengths and weaknesses of each grading company, because not one of them is absolutely perfect and not one of them is absolutely horrible. Now, you can have your opinions, and that's fine, but check out that video first so you can see which grading company will work best for you. Now, if you're just looking to slab your books just to slab them and you don't care about retail value or anything, PGX is the cheapest, the fastest. They have in-house pressings and dry cleanings, and they do signature verifications, and their forms are the simplest because they have modern tier and then the like Silver Age, Golden Age tier, and that's it. Now, if you have something like Amazing Fantasy 15, there is an additional charge for that, but that's pretty much, there's only 2 choices to go, which makes it a lot easier. Same thing with the signature verification and the pressings, just 2 tiers. Some of the other companies have multi-levels of different ways you can get them graded. That can be confusing. So unless you're pretty much into grading at this point, or if you can go to like a comic store that's an affiliated sponsor of one of them, start with the basics. Now, I will say PGX comics will sell for less. I'm not going to sit here and deny that. But if you're just grading them because you have a book that, you know, you got as a kid, it's worth nothing, but you wanted to just grade it and protect it, well, you might as well go the cheapest route and the fastest route without having to spend extra money to get them sent. But keep in mind, with these days, with all the things going on in the world, all companies are slowing down a little bit because not as many people are going to work, so there are some unusual delays, so keep that in mind. Alright, so the first thing I say is, before I show the books, and Joe just did a super chat, thank you. He says, I appreciate your advice and celebrate your commitment to your passion. New subscriber. Joe, thank you for that. That's really nice of you. Welcome. And I have many tip and advice videos, so hopefully you'll check them out, and there'll be something that even somebody that's a professional or been doing this for decades might say, oh, I didn't think about that. So thank you for that. That's very nice of you. All right, so I'm not going to show the books yet. I'm going to first do what I always say. First thing I say that you should do, and I'm going to cover this so this way my personal information doesn't come out. If you have very valuable books, what I always recommend is when you have them in a bag and board and you want to ship them, you want to protect them. So what I always do is I add extra backing boards to my very valuable comics because it gives it a little bit more support. Now, the best way to save them is if you ever order anything on eBay or Amazon or anything online, people always give you, most of the time, older boards. Now, most people just throw those away. Well, you can reuse those. Now, if they're older ones, you don't want to put them as the very first one because you don't want anything dirty or stained to touch the comic. But if you're doing it just to mail it to a company and you want extra support, put them behind them. So it gives them more support so they do not bend as much. Okay? Another thing that I do is I write my name and address on the back of each comic that I'm sending to get graded. So this way, if they ever get separated or they misplace the invoice or you forget to do it, which I forgot to put the invoice in one time, they'll open up a box and they'll know whose this is. So they can at least contact you to let you know, hey, dummy, you forgot to put the invoice. Because I had PGX one time where it was like 4 months went by, and I'm like, why didn't these come back? And I finally messaged them, and they said, oh, so you're the one that owns those books. So I mentioned the 4, and because I've dealt with them every month for almost 3 years now, they ended up knowing who I was, but they kept them for about 3 or 4 months, but had no way to contact because they didn't know whose it was. And that's when I decided, write the information. Also, let's say, for example, the cover is barely hanging on. Well, write that on here, because the person opening these is not going to take care of your comics like you will. So if you have any information you want them to know, write it on here, and maybe say, please open with care. The more information you put and provide, the better chances of things returning the way you sent them. So keep that in mind of writing the information. Alright, so then what I do is, once I have my books that I pick, and like I said, I do 4 every month, I put them all in a bag, and I put a couple of pieces of cardboard in between, again, to give them more support. Now, what I did on this side, which I won't show because it's my personal information, on the bag itself, which I will fold closed and tape, so this way it cannot move around, I will write, again, my name, address, phone number, email address, and the contents of the bag. So again, you're giving more information in case somebody that's working there that day just was clumsy or something happened where maybe they had a fan on and it blew away your invoice. You have a way to keep track of them, to keep track of what they have in front of them. So again, the more information you give, the better. Then I will not use, unless I don't have anything else, I will not use a Gemini mailer. I will put them in a bigger box. And as you could see, I put the address. Now here's a big thing. Like I said, I'm sending these to PGX, and here's the address. Notice I didn't write PGX Comics. You don't want to write the word comics on your envelope or your packages because that basically says to somebody, hey, there's potentially something valuable in this. Let me steal your package. So if you're writing to CBCS, PGX, CGC, don't write CGC Comics. You don't want the word comics in your anywhere on here. And that's why I use things like this is, Chewy.com. That's a cat food and dog food website. No one's going to really think there's comic books in here. But this gives it more support. Now, what I do is I add cardboard on the bottom. I will put the bag in the middle and then stack more cardboard. And then as you see here, I write all over the sides, the fronts, the backs, do not crush. I put it all over so there's no way it cannot be seen. You got to make sure it can, if you could shake this and you hear it move, it could potentially be damaged. And the reason I don't want Gemini mailers is they can easily bend, especially the cheaper versions of them. And I'm sure if you've ordered online, you will know what I'm talking about when it comes to that. So get yourself a box. And that's why, when I make orders like this for the many cats that I take care of, each and every one of them is a stray, even the ones inside my house, I save those boxes because I know I will use them. So a lot of people will send in their books to get graded and then find out, oh, I thought this was a 9.8. It comes back an 8.5. And they're like, well, why did that happen? Well, it could have been damaged while it was waiting months in their storage rooms. You never know how they package them and how they stack them. But it could have been damaged in the mail. So yes, you're going to spend more money to ship this out. But it's going to be a lot more protective of your comics. So don't be penny wise and dollar foolish. Spend the extra money to get these things as best chances of being protected. And then basically that's it. So you fill out the forms, you write down what particular comics they are, and depending on the company that you use, they will be different in many tiers. Then they will have, if you want faster service, you'll spend more money. I tend to not do that because even with faster services, the turnaround times that every company says is not even close to being accurate. And remember, if it says, for example, 30 days, they're talking 30 business days, which means weekends and holidays do not count. So it's Monday through Friday. So keep that in mind. So that's why a lot of people spend extra money to get a faster turnaround, but that just means instead of waiting 3 to 4 months, you're waiting 2 to 3 months. That's up to you. All right, so now that we got that out of the way, and 24 people like that, so thank you for that. Don't forget to wait until the end for the shout out. Let me show today's 4 books. Now, this is a comic I have probably 3 or 4 copies of. I was telling people years ago to buy this book because I had inside information of people. Most people didn't listen. Most people thought I was full of you-know-what. But if you see some of my older videos, or if you were from my older channel, you will know a lot of the books that I've predicted and told people years ago to get, when you can get it cheaper, are going to eventually end up in the MCU. I always say it can take years, but that's when you don't spend a lot of money. So, this is one of many of my Avengers number 8. Like I said, I have at least 3. I may have up to 5. Because I found 3 of them in one box, but I scatter stuff all around. So this, of course, is the first appearance of Kang, which has been rumored, and I'm saying rumored because until you see it in a movie or in a trailer, anything can change. So keep that in mind when you're investing in anything. But the rumors are pretty strong that Kang is going to be coming to the MCU. Now, is he a one-and-done character? That depends on, the actor and, the contracts that get signed and if it's something they want to continue forward with. I don't believe he's going to be a one-and-done character, but keep that in mind. I paid $65 for this book. Now, of course, this is nowhere near a 9.8 because it does have a color break increase that goes right along here. Spine looks pretty good, but there's a few ticks here and there. There's a little bit of minor chipping in one spot, 2 spots maybe. And there's a little, what they call a dog ear right at the very tip. But that could easily be pressed out. So I always recommend press and dry clean your comics no matter who you use. You could really substantially upgrade your book by doing that. Now, the staples are a little rusty, but not major. Actually, no, that was just a shadow. Forget that. Alright, so, I paid $65 for this book. I predict about a 4.5 to maybe a 5.5 because this color breaking crease does not go all the way down. If you had what they call a subscription crease, where you see, because back in the days they used to mail them and they would just fold them into the mailboxes, you know, because back then, you know, people just bought them to read them. And I remember when I was in college back in 1988, they gave you just a little cubicle for your P.O. box, and I had some subscriptions of comic books, and they would just roll it up and just stuff it in there. But if you have a comic book where there's a crease all the way up and down that breaks color, the best it can get is a 5.0. But since this starts about, where does it start? It starts about here and goes down. That can still be higher than a 5.0, but it's not going to be higher than a 5.5 with everything else. Off-white to, actually, what did I say? I said off-white to white pages. This, even if it came back a 0.5, I will make my money on. Obviously, this is not going to be a 0.5. And that's why I tell people, buy things early, especially when it comes to Silver Age or Bronze Age first appearances of known characters. Now, Kang is, you know, Kang is no Venom. Not as many people are going to know this character, but if he ends up in the MCU, they are definitely going to know him. And Marvel does have a pretty good track record, and they're getting better with villains. And now that they have a lot more to play with, maybe there'll be more enthusiasm. So that is definitely a book I recommend getting. The price is definitely going up, but if there is an appearance in a movie, you know what's going to happen. Alright, this is another one of those books I told people back in 2016. This is a no-brainer book. Most people just didn't listen. I bought these books between $10 and $12, so I didn't write the prices at the time. So I'm just going to say the higher end of $12 for this book. I bought about 15 copies, but some of the comic book mystery bags and stuff that I've sold, which, by the way, I still sell. Check the description for the comics that I sell, which include comic book mystery boxes and mystery bags. I've given a lot of these out, so I'm down to about 6 or 7 of them. But, I mean, this is a no-brainer. This is Ultimate Fallout 4. This is the first print. I paid $12. Like I said, between 10 and 12, because I bought them twice at the time. So I'll just say $12. This is still in the bag. Now, what I do is, when I get something like this, which is a bagged comic, graded, I leave it in the bag. So this way, I don't have to worry. Now, whether you want to take it out or not is up to you, but I feel like if it's still in the bag, they know that it's a book that is coming from the original package. This book is a must-press. The reason being is, because this is a bagged issue, for you to open it, there's a little tab that goes all the way down the back of this book. It will leave an indent. That's why if you send this in raw, you'll probably get between a 9.0 and a 9.4. Because that indent, over the years, leaves an impression. Now, it does not break color. So if you get that pressed out, this book is an easy 9.8 candidate, provided that's the way it was when you got it and there were no other additional problems and you stored it properly over the years. So this, in my opinion, is a 9.6 to a 9.8 after a pressing. So I cannot stress enough, this is absolutely, any bagged book you get graded, make sure you have it pressed because of that indent that goes down the middle of the back of the book, and a lot of times is very hard to see. So don't take the chance on it, because like I said, pressings cost, you know, depending on the company, anywhere from $20 to $40. It could raise your book hundreds of dollars to get this grade. Like, for example, I think a 9.6 is like $450 graded. A 9.8 is about $1,000. That's a huge difference, and you're spending very minimal to be able to get that chance. So trust me when I say, get this book pressed. But like I bought these years ago, and I tell people, get things early. You're going to wait regardless. You might as well spend less money to do it. So hopefully you guys, some of you took my advice. Alright, this is my second copy of this book. This to me is a no-brainer, especially with the new series coming out and how they are really going to take this character very seriously. How amazing would it be at some point, maybe Phase 6 in the Marvel Universe, they have this as a villain? I would love to see it. I'm sure many people would. This is my second copy of Venom number 3. This is the most popular one, the third printing. The 1 in 25 variant is also a very highly expensive book, but this one's still about $180 to $200 more expensive, and it's going to be the most popular because, of course, this is the first appearance of Null, and it's his first cover appearance. So this is the most desirable of all the books. Definitely one to get. Now, I bought one right before it increased in price. I paid $101 for it. It was in beautiful condition. They said it didn't even need to be pressed, and it came back a 9.8. This is the same thing. Now, I didn't pay $101 on this one, but if this comes back a 9.8, and again, I think this is a 9.6, 9.8 candidate, because I'm not going to just say 9.8, because you never know. That one little thing can ruin it. But then again, with a 9.8, you are allowed to have one little minor tick. So my other book that people complained about, which, you know, I can understand if there was a fold all over the place. People are like, how could you get a 9.8? It had at the very tip of the bottom of the back of the comic a little color-breaking crease that was not even 1/8 of an inch wide. That still can qualify for a 9.8. I've seen many CGC books where a 9.8 had worse than that. But people always want to find an excuse to you know, whatever. It's your own decision. But I paid $340 for this book. If it comes back at 9.8, as of now, I will have most likely have doubled my money, but I am not selling it right now. I'm holding on to this because I see this one as a lot of future potential, especially, I think it comes out in December. There is a series where they're showing his power in the MCU, and there's going to be a big event coming, so that's only going to make this book that much more popular, and that character much more popular. Will we get to the point of Venom status? Remains to be seen, but so far, they're taking this character seriously. People are really enjoying it, and that's increasing the popularity, which of course will increase value. So if you can find that book for under $500, you know, especially if it's graded, get it. But if it's raw, you never know, because, you know, sometimes eBay sellers are going to be dishonest or sneaky. Make sure you check the books. Like I said, that's, of course, it's a no-brainer. Like the other Ultimate Fallout 4 white pages, that's pretty much a given. But I'm going to say, again, between a 9.6 and a 9.8. $390 I paid for that, which includes shipping. All right, last one. We got ourselves a Silver Age Grail. In my opinion, and I've said this in other videos, this is the most undervalued Silver Age comic out there from Marvel. Now, of course, that's my opinion. You can differ. I got this one pretty much for a steal. Even if it comes back a 0.5, I will more than likely double my money, but this is definitely not a 0.5. Now, it's definitely not a high grade, but as I've always said, low grade is better than no grade. If you cannot afford a higher grade and you think you'll never be able to, well, if you have a 9.8 or a 0.5, you still own the book. So get what you can afford and be happy with that, because you can always upgrade later, and by the time you may upgrade, the book that you have might be able to be sold for a nice profit, and then you'll have a higher grade. So, you know, get what you can get and be happy with what you have. I'm very happy with my comics. I mean, I have Amazing Spider-Man #1. It's a coverless issue. I still love it because I own Amazing Spider-Man #1. I could not afford, especially nowadays, but that'll change eventually, to get even a 0.5 at the time, because they always were way overpriced, but get what you can afford. All right, so the last book, I have several copies of this. I actually, when I did the mystery bags, and again, check the description for that if you're interested in taking the chance on some of the mystery bags, one of them was my 6.0 Daredevil #1. And I had a lower grade that I had in there as well. But this, since I spoiled it by saying the Daredevil #1 6.0, this, of course, is Daredevil #1. In my opinion, this is the most highly underrated and undervalued Silver Age first appearance in Marvel. Now, the video froze. So YouTube is doing its wonderful job. So, I can't show it anymore, but at least you got to see it, and I'm sure people can still hear me. This book has some flaws. It's got a little bit of a split at the bottom on the cover. Probably about 2 inches to 3 inches. Staples are intact. There are a couple of color breaking creases. This is a definitely lower grade book. There is a chip missing by the Amazing Spider-Man head. I'm sorry it froze. That's YouTube for you. But I only paid $300 for this book. So like I said, even at a 0.5, this book I'm going to make money on. You know, obviously I have to sell it to make money. But I'm going to say this is about a 1.8 to a 2.5. So it's definitely a lower grade book. But it's a book that if you can get, especially in low grade, because they are rumored, and again, I'm saying rumored until it happens, anything can change, that Daredevil will be coming into the MCU. I would love if they use, I think his name is Charlie Cox, the character, the actor who played Daredevil in the Netflix series. It's the only good thing about Netflix these days. But if they used him, people will go crazy, and the value of that book will shoot up. But even if they don't, and they end up with another actor, you know what happens every time they say a new character is appearing in the MCU. The book's value goes up. So to me, that one's a no-brainer. So if you can get that, I mean, to me, no-brainers are, especially Hulk 180, which in my opinion is the #1 Bronze Age undervalued book, because it is the first appearance of Wolverine. It's just a cameo. Most people like, of course, 181 because it's his first full appearance. He's on the cover, and his name is actually under the title. But make no mistake, Hulk 180 is Wolverine's first appearance. Now, people can say it's that Foom issue, but that was kind of like an artist rendition of a character. That's almost like the Tales of Astonished version of the Hulk. It's not the first appearance of the Hulk. It was like a prototype. So that Foom issue, I mean, there are people that give it some value, and it does have some value to it, but it is not the first Wolverine. Even if it was, it's not a regular comic, so it's not in the comic book continuity. So, you know, just like that's why I always say make sure you research about comics and know as much as you can. Apex says, I want to see Daredevil in a yellow and red costume and later full red costume. That would be interesting to see Daredevil in his banana suit, but I don't think Marvel will do that. I guess we'll find out, but in my opinion, I just think they would stay away from it, because with a yellow suit, he's probably going to look really silly, and then you're going to see banana memes all over the place, and I think Marvel doesn't want to do that. So, as much as I'd like to see it, maybe he might have a yellow stripe or something. Maybe the D in the center might be yellow, or an outline of yellow. I think that's probably the more realistic route they're going to go. But we'll find out, but that's definitely a book to get if you can get it. And again, 0.5 still means you own the first appearance of Daredevil. So, sorry that the video froze. Nothing I can do about that. If I hit this button that says error, as soon as I hit that, the video will stop. But I want to make sure I do the surprise subscriber shout-out before I do that. And remember, if you are today's surprise subscriber shout-out and you have a YouTube channel, post the link to the channel in the comment section. I will approve it, because I got to make sure it's not some porn link, because I get porn links all the time. You guys never see them, because I know how to prevent those things from happening, although they try and be slick every now and then. But today's surprise subscriber shout-out will go to Arnell Platon, Platon. So it's either Platon or Platon. Forgive me if I mispronounced it, but Ariel, you are today's surprise subscriber shout-out. If you saw this far and you're one of my power viewers, make sure in the comment section you do give the shout-out a shout-out. And if you want to be one, you can hit subscribe and be a subscriber, but you don't have to. You just have to join the live chat and be part of the fun. And I'll pick somebody in the live chat. So the more you speak and type in the live chat, the more likely I'm able to see your comment and then potentially give you that shout out. So that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. Again, please sign up for the cashback program if you haven't. Check for restrictions, like things like, for example, best offers on eBay will not qualify. So check the restrictions in your area to see if wherever you live around the world, if you can use the program. It's free to sign up, and if you spend $30 or more within the first 90 days, you'll get a $30 bonus instead of the 10. So 35 people liked this video. Thank you so much for that. Let me know what you thought about my information and tips from the beginning of the video if you saw it. If you have any tips you'd like to share yourself, post it in the comments section, because anything that can help comic collectors become better comic collectors, I am all for that, and that's what a community should be about. So I want to thank each and every one of you for taking the time to watch my video, and for the people kind enough to hit the like button. Check out some of my other videos, hit the subscribe button. If you could share my channel, that would be awesome. I could use all the help I can get these days. And Joey, the Stuntmaster, says good luck with the grading. Thank you very much for that. And do not forget, and Grandmaster said any Bronze Age. Hopefully you heard my advice on Hulk 180. To me, that's the most #1 undervalued book. As a matter of fact, I have a video under tips and advice of my most undervalued comics, in my opinion. Go check it out. You'll see some other books that I think, at least at that time, were very undervalued. Now, some of them have raised in price since then, but books like Hulk 180 are in there. So thanks for watching, guys, and do not forget, it is not you, it is not I, it is we love comics. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, everybody. I'll see you next video.